Hello. Just a bit of a shout out to all the poor people on the east coast of New South Wales, the central coast, basically heading north up. It's sort of even almost worse than the cyclone they had in Queensland a few months ago, in that it wasn't a cyclone, it's just floods. It's a 1 in 500 year event. So a hell of a lot of people in my home state of New South Wales here suffering. Uh, uh, Poor people. Yeah. Anyway, postage just arrived, and it's raining here today. Actually, out here in the central west New South Wales, but it's just normal rain. So um, this is one I've been waiting on, and I did have it before. Uh, it won't excite anyone particularly, but it excites me a lot. It's just arrived, nicely packed, very professionally packed. It's been professionally cleaned. There is no spindle wear whatsoever, but there are a few light hairline scratches. You wouldn't even call them scratches, but it's in. Well, the B side's got a scratch, but I don't like the B side. But this might not mean anything to anyone, but it means a lot to me. Pictures of matchstick men by the Status Quo. Song written by Francis Rossi. Yeah, this was a big hit everywhere, I guess. But what it's really about is, now, as an example, there's a song I quite like by Donovan called Sunshine Superman, but I could never stand the way the guitar was pushed right up into the mix, right up front over everything. So got how's it go? Sunshine falls softly on my window today, and it's got this ding, 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 ding guitar, trebly, horrible thing overriding the song, and it just used to drive me nuts. But I got a reissue album which I gave to my nephew of the Sunshine Superman LP, and I don't know if it was mono, but that horrible guitar was pushed back into the background, and it sounded so much better, so much better. And this is another example. On this one, you got that horribly irritating, it sounds like a children's nursery rhyme. This is basically a bubblegum song. Before they turned into mindless boogie merchants, um, they actually made a brilliant psych pop, or it's bubblegum essentially. If you know uh, My Green Tambourine by the Lemon Pipers, well, that's a studio band. This is an actual band from the UK. But the thing is, that was sort of like, it's sort of like it is bubblegum, but not that ultra childish bubblegum like the Archies, like Sugar Sugar, or Yummy Yummy Yummy, I Got Love in My Tummy by the 1910 Fruit Gun Company. That's aimed at the 8-year-olds, even though the lyrics are filthy, and some of them are really filthy. But then there was that thing, I even call the band the Sweet, their early stuff, bubblegum. Ballroom Blitz, that's bubblegum with an attitude. But they just put their own spin, but it is basically bubblegum aimed at 12 to 15-year-olds. Well, I was probably late teens when this came out. I never owned it originally, I picked up a second-hand copy a few years back, and I sent it to my friend in Germany, mATcHsTiCk. And when I sent it afterwards, I've always going, I wish I could hear it, just hear it, because this is a mono, and this is another example of pictures of mATcHsTiCk, man. It's got this ding 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 ding. And it's so irritating in the stereo, in that it's pushed right up front and everything else is pushed way back. It's horrible. The mono kicks butt. This thing kicks absolute butt. The guitar is mixed right down in the mix, and this is one of those wonderful examples of that phasing effect they were doing in '68. With I think one of the first ones was Itchy Park, obviously. I'll never forget hearing that. I was helping paint my bedroom because of all the nicotine stains from me and my friends sitting in there with the doors and windows shut, smoking things, and the nicotine was dripping off the walls. So we were painting my bedroom out in a lovely lavender colour or something, purple, I forget. And I heard this the song come on the radio. Actually, it was a very sad story. We were listening to the radio while we were painting, and there was a news break, and they said a famous disc jockey, I can't remember his name now, but he was a DJ. He had a not a catamaran, a trimaran catamaran, the triple catamaran. He left, I think it was Sydney, heading across to New Zealand, and was never seen again. It's crazy to take something like that out into a wild blue yonder like out there. It's just madness. They're unstable, They just flip. Never heard of again. It was very sad. But after that news announcement, this is in 1967, they put on one of my all-time favourite bands, the Small Faces. They put on their latest song called Itchy Park with that phasing. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't, tough luck. And I just went, what is that? Even my old man's going, what? And it's it's sad news, but it's the first time I heard phasing. I think it's called phasing, where it goes from speaker to speaker. But it's in stereo. It sort of gets lost, but in mono, it works. It works big time. That's why I love Axis Boulder's Love by Jimi Hendrix in mono. It absolutely shits on the stereo, wipes the floor. Same with Sgt. Pepper. Sorry to have to mention a Beatles record, but my mono original Sgt. Pepper in mono is awesome. The stereo, I cannot bear to listen to. It's just dreadful. This is another one of these ones where it's quite an irritating song in a way, but with the guitar way up front and that horrible repetitive, mindless sort of ding 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 ding. It ruins it. But on this, it's back in the mix. It's part of the whole sound, and you can hear the phasing effects on this are amazing. Swishing around and sort of swirling and going from side to side, and it's like a different band. This is like the best thing they ever did. They never came close after this. Don't get me wrong. I saw them live with Slade many years later, and they were a great live band for that sort of thing, and they were a massive influence on AC/DC. And anyway, I'm sorry about this. Has gone on for way too long. I'm happy to have it back. I'm going to go in there in a minute and play it. So anyway, I hope all is well in the world with everybody. Bye now.